Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Suit Breakdown. My name is Trey, this is the Full Spectrum, and today we're talking about the Zeong. The MSN-2 Zeong, that's O2 Zeong, was the first Psychomu suit used by Zeong, and its first new type pilot was the Red Comet himself, Mr. Shah Aznable. The Zeong is only 80% complete, it has no legs, 80% was enough for Shah to be able to use it. The Zeong is a very heavy suit in this game, which, as it's much bigger than most other mobile suits, that makes perfect sense. It has a very standard beam shot that fires 3 beams in a close, or actually it's 5 beams, I'm sorry, in a close spread, and then you can use the head laser if you charge. The charge time is actually really fast, and I find myself using the head beam more than I use the standard beam because it has better range to it. As you can tell, it doesn't do that much damage, but it does enough. That it's a really good quick hit, and the reload time is actually really fast too. Past that, you have the quick blast there, which is pretty nice. Does pretty good damage. I should have dodged that. Should have sidestepped that. You have a full beam that is the Garobi. Takes a little bit to recharge, but does pretty good damage. And then, of course, you can fire out the hands because they are on wires, and you can shoot from them. It has the Striker version, uses the wires as well, and is very useful to flank your enemies if they are moving a lot and don't expect attacks from multiple angles. The melee is to rocket punch or that smash. The melee does decent damage. All told, the biggest thing that I think the Zeong suffers from is that, other than the Garobi, it doesn't do that much damage with most of its attacks. Now, granted, it's got enough going on that I think that's fine, because you have so many options in your kit, you're going to wind up getting the kill if you're playing smart anyway. As you can tell, the burst there is a very nice beam spread. I have gotten kills in ranked before with the Zeong because people flew into the spread because they thought they needed to get away from it and didn't realize how wide that spread actually was. The Zeong is a really fun suit. This is the last suit that Shah Aznable pilots in the original Gundam series. As you can tell, it's not red, like his normal suits are. And there are a lot of different variants of the suit, mass-produced versions, Zeong 2s, Neo Zeong, things like that. But I really like the design of the original Zeong. Something about it it stands out to me. I really appreciate the way it looks. It's a standout for Shah because, again, it's not red. But I love the antennas on it. I think those antennas look really cool, coming off the side of the face. It very clearly was an answer to the Gundam with the Psychomu, and probably would have been something that like Lala Soon piloted, but Shah wound up with it, which works out pretty well. He's able to stand toe-to-toe in the Gundam with it, and toe-to-toe against the Gundam with it. So, that's what he's been wanting for a while anyway. But I very much like the Zeong. Now, to the question of should you use the Zeong. This Zeong is a really good suit for ranged. Although, at that same time to mention, most of its attacks, again, don't do a lot of damage other than the Garobi, and there are better Garobis in this game. However, if you want a suit that has some nice tricks up its sleeve, that is really good at pinning people down that don't expect or aren't used to having to counter attacks from multiple angles, as you can tell there, I was able to use those while charging, which is a nice thing I can do while boosting forward to get a hit in on somebody, fire these off, shoot with them, and then also immediately counter into one of those, and then of course that Garobi that is just very powerful. The Striker is honestly my favorite thing about the Zeong. I use the Zeong Striker quite a bit because of that. It does decent damage, and it comes from the sides, which most people don't expect. And then, of course, the burst is absolutely worth it. So, if the question for you is, should you use the Zeong, and you like tricky mobile suits that have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, absolutely give the Zeong a shot. It's a really solid 400. It's not my favorite 400. It's not even my favorite tricky 400, as we'll get to later on in the series. But the Zeong, I think, is absolutely worth a shot if you are even remotely interested in a suit that has a lot of tricks up its sleeve. Just be forewarned that it is very heavy, and because most of its melee attacks are on wires, if you miss, like the Gundam Hammer, then your melee attack will be out there and you won't be able to immediately put out another one. But thank you again for watching. My name is Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the Zeong has to offer.